My man Steeljaw can sniff out any trail, if it's hot or if it's not.
Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the MMC Mastermind Creations RMX-11 Tempo. Now, it's their take on a very G1-esque masterpiece Steeljaw, and I did get this at Shozy. I'm going to have a link down below where you can get this one here, and there's also up for pre-order the SDCC one, which I'll talk about later on, but I love these cassettes. I like what MMC is doing with them, and I actually like the size and stuff better than the standard ones that everyone else is getting. So with that, I'm going to get into this. I'm going to talk about the pluses and minuses, good and the bad. Coming up. Alright, so here's the packaging. It's just kind of like a brown box special, kind of cheap looking, but the real packaging is what's around the cassette. Yeah, it's kind of like an old school cassette kind of thing. The way they have this going on, that's kind of cool. So looks like a sleeve back in the day that you would get with maybe your single and that, and sort of showing some of the transformation. So that's cool how they did that. It's just interesting. It's different, like taking the whole cassette thing to the next level, and I kind of like that. And then you have a card in here. Yeah, there's a card. Pretty cool stuff. So here it is in cassette mode versus a micro cassette, which is what the rest of them are, micro cassettes. And this is what it looks like. It's even got the cassette sort of bump out so that you can have the electrical, the magnetic tape that is used in these old cassettes. So kind of cool. Really no stickers like you would see with the vintage one. Here's a random cassette, G1 cassette, and you see how they've got some stuff to make it look like a cassette. Not on this, and I really would just kind of mess up the main mode anyway, so I can't find a cassette or a cassette player to put this in, which is kind of strange, because I know I got a box of cassettes, I know I got a couple of Walkmans somewhere, but there's the cassette mode. Okay, so getting into the transformation, you have to think fourth dimensionally when you're transforming these cassette bots. So start at the bottom here, and I'm gonna kind of open up some stuff. Open that up, get this opened and folded around. Same thing with this. Opened and folded around. Fourth dimensionally. That's the future, Marty. The future. All right, we gotta open up these pieces here. Let's look at it from this angle. It makes a lot more sense. There we go. Folds up here, flips this around, and then same thing on the other side. Got to get to it, fold it up, flip it around, and then we're going to move these pieces. This is what I'm talking about fourth dimensionally. So it's kind of interesting how they make it flat. They take a wing and split it in half and fold it around itself. So that's quite interesting there. And I hate to admit that I'm actually using tools these days. I really wish you didn't have to use a tool to transform something, but maybe just the nails aren't working so much these days. Get that out of there. Okay, so what's next? I think we're going to work on some legs. Just pull that down. This coming down here. Down and around here. And then, let's see, we got a head that needs to come up. And then we're going to pull out and around on it. And then we're going to do some stuff with, so looks like my jaw is real loose. It was loose from the beginning. Okay, well. All right, so we're going to fold this out and around. There we go. And then I'll straighten that paw. And then same thing on the other side for the most part. Out and around. Straighten that paw out. And then we're going to do some moving around here. All right, so going from here, actually, we need to reposition this. So have this up and then fold at this joint like that. So there we go. Then we're gonna do some really strange stuff with folding. This is that good thinking fourth dimensionally stuff that we're talking about. So we're gonna be folding these down and this back at pretty much the same time, and then kind of squeeze that in like so. Now my joint popped out there, which I don't think it's supposed to do that, but anyhow, let's get this folded down all the way, and this down all the way, and then not sure why this keeps popping out. Back in there. I'm sure I'm doing. So if you have any issues with this section, evidently I didn't have that folded down. There's a notch in here where that goes, and then the head, although I pulled it out, it pushed back in on me. So a couple of issues why this wasn't working for me, but maybe this just is going to make it easier for some other people down the road. Seeing those issues, maybe my having an issue, make it easier for someone else down the road. So then we get it sort of into this situation here. This is where we're at with it. Yeah, it kind of looks like a mess right now. So we're going to fold this up, getting it all into that situation. And then these are going to fold down. This is going to fold down. And it's going to look right, like it's about there with that one. Then we're going to fold this down like so. Probably should have done that before I close all that off. Okay, so we are going to fold these out right here, which will kind of give clearance to fold this up all the way. This is going to go down like that. This is going to go up. This piece goes up right here, and then we're going to be able to bring these down. And then we can do some stuff with that. I'm going to go ahead and put the guns and stuff of that out later, because you don't have to do that right now so much. I'm going to make the arms, or the front paws, legs, get that good to go. And then we're getting somewhere here. We are getting somewhere. I'm going to articulate these, get them out a little bit. And let's see if this all is in place right here on the bottom. And then we have to work on this. Now I'm going to use a tool, sadly, to get that out. I feel like a tool using a tool. Got to get that up too. And same thing on the back. The clearance, and we've got that one done. And so we're pretty close to being done. I'm going to take a look at this guy and see if there's any more tightening up I can do here and there, but I think we're pretty much done. And we're pretty much done. All right, so here he is in Steeljaw mode, and I did not think fourth dimensionally. I have the legs just backwards. It's real simple, easy fix. You just do that, and then flip the foot around. Real simple. If you end up with this, maybe I should make this a what not to do video, but anyway. So now he's there. So pretty good looking figure overall, though. I really do like this guy, and I like the MMC cassettes, mostly because they're bigger, but because they're bigger, they can do more with them, and so they can make them look so much better. I think this looks fantastic. I mean, is it perfect? No, nothing's really perfect, but there's so much you can do with this guy. So let's go ahead and take a look at all of it. You can. We're pretty much there. So I think it's best to kind of start with the articulation. You have the head, which does a lot, side to side, up and down. My chin is a bit loose, but it really doesn't make a difference when you pose them and just put it in place, it'll stay. Or if you pose it open, it definitely stays open. But okay, getting into the neck can still get some up and down if you want. So that's pretty cool, some good articulation. You do have some articulation in these wings slash guns, and they don't hold together as tight as I'd like, but that's still pretty cool. And the legs, so the front legs, you do have a universal kind of a joint. You can get a lot out of it. I don't know what you would really need to get too wide of a stance, but it also is part of the transformation. And then, so you have all that. You get about the 90 at the elbow joint, and then you have everything you need down here on the ball joint, which is nice tight ball joint on the feet. The back, you really have the out to about as far as you'd want to go, and then a ball joint there, and then you can go up to a little past the 90 right there, so you can get a lot with that if you need it. But really, not much. There's not much you're really going to need to do with this guy, other than, you know, standing like this, or of course you can get a paw forward with another one back, kind of like one of these numbers. So I mean, a lot of articulation, everything you'd think you would need for a cat. Yeah, pretty good articulation. So this is where you're really going to see the difference between this one and the SDCC, where the paint is on this is almost minimal. You have a little bit here on the silver, and this, you got some white teeth, red mouth. You've got this, and I'm not really sure that that's painted. I think this is all just dyed plastic. This here, I believe, is painted, but it's on the SDC version. This here is back metallized gold, and there's more paint on the SDCC, I believe. I don't have that. Now, ShowZ does have that one up for pre-order, but I was waiting on that one. I finally just picked this one up because I'm not sure what's going on with the SDCC one from ShowZ, if they're really getting more stock or not. But paint-wise, very, very minimal, but he still looks really good. And I do believe this is one of the cases where the SDCC one will shine a little bit more on the shelf if you had it. But if you don't have access to that one, which I guess I don't until ShowZ gets them in, then this one is a very, very solid option. Probably the best Steeljaw that is out there. All right, so can you take a break from posing for a thumbnail to do some comparisons? Well, I guess he says he can. So let's do the first one. So compared to G1, the G1 I always thought looked interesting, but was in that, it feels like a one-dimensional figure, really. You're just folding down a one-dimensional figure. And that's what a lot of the cassettes were. They weren't really 3D. They were maybe 2D. Okay, 2D. I'll give them 2D. You do get the back metallized with it. Very unstable. Doesn't really match the animation. But it's what we got back in the day in simplistic, super simplistic transformation on that. So I'm just kind of remembering what the original was. Where we came from, where we're going. That's always fun. And we got KFC right here, and this is kind of how he looks next to the KFC one. And so, KFC was going for more of a G1S cassette and trying to stay in those boundaries. And you're going to run into limitations when you keep yourself within boundaries, such as a G1 cassette. MMC does not do that with this because they're going with the bigger ones. That is why I like these more. And the bigger you go, you can do more with it. I think smaller, you see that in the Legends. There's a couple things that just kind of just accept because they're so small in Legends, but something big like this and getting it pretty near perfection, that's pretty awesome. But we're also going to see it compared to the 2.0 tomorrow. Hopefully I'll get that done tomorrow. And this is the 2.0. We've got those in. Here he is next to Ravage, and I gotta say, I love the Ravage. This is my favorite Ravage of all of them so far. I do like what Fans Toys did with Ravage also. But for this, we're just comparing MMC to MMC now. I think MMC, although I did not really enjoy that transformation, I do think they've come a bit of a ways because this feels really solid and feels once you're done together. And this one feels pretty solid too. But I just think, like, looks-wise, this one matches what I was thinking. And this one, although it does look good, I do think that this area here kind of bothered me, just the way it went. I think that the legs should have gone up a little bit more. Anyway, I just feel like they've come a ways with their engineering, even though it's kind of crazy, that it's a little bit better. But still, amazing figure. Both of these are amazing figures. Here we go with pretty much all the MMC cassettes. The bad guys facing off against the one good guy. Well, he's got reinforcements coming, but I absolutely love these. I do believe that this bird is just too big. Laserbeak's just too... He's just too darn big and too darn loud for the Masterpiece line. I just feel like that's the one downer. And I guess the rest of the people in the community feel the way because these things, I think they're still available to buy right now. Actually, these are still available to buy at places too. All right, and the last comparison's next to blasters, and I'm really just going to be doing the deformation space right here and then the Fans Toys so you can kind of get an idea. And this is the Fans Toys version of, is it Rewind, Fast Forward? And I want to admit, though, I wish that this would have this level of a paint job to it, because this guy has a serious paint job to him, and that one's sort of flat plastic. But again, that's what I think the SDCC one has. But even without that shiny paint job, I think it's an excellent looking mold. But that's how it looks. And the fans toys, right there, that's how it looks. Looking good. And so if you have your fans toys figure and you're saying, I like fans toys cassettes, but I want the bigger ones, I do believe that the MMC displays better with the Masterpiece. And this guy just, look how amazing that looks next to the fans toys one. It looked amazing next to the DS one too. So anyway, so it looks. So this is my look at the MMC Mastermind Creations RMX-11 Tempo. Their take on a very G1-esque Masterpiece Steeljaw. I think it's a fantastic looking figure, and they've done some stuff with the engineering to take it to, I would say, another level. I think he looks really good. It feels really good. Transformation, I don't think it's fun. But I mean, after you, like with all Masterpiece, you do it a few times and it sort of makes sense. But I actually don't see any reason to put it back in cassette mode unless you're selling it. And I don't really see any reason to sell this. So there is a link down below where you can get one at Show Z and put in TH for reviewer code if you'd like to help out Titanium Hanger. And there's also an SDCC one on pre-order, and I don't know what's going on with it, but I'm really excited if that one comes in, and I would actually keep both because I think it's that awesome a figure. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you have this one? Are you looking to pick this one up? Or are you stuck in the smaller cassette range? Because there's nothing wrong with that either. Like and subscribe to Titanium Hanger out.
Just about got it.